I'm joined now by Daniel Servew. He's a professor in the School of Advanced International Studies at Johns Hopkins University here in Washington. He's also the author of the book From War to Peace in the Balkans, the Middle East and Ukraine. Thank you very much for your time there, sir. Now, just as we heard Giles Gibson say, there's no sign of Moscow backing down. So now with the news that the International Crimes Court has announced it will investigate Russia for crimes against humanity. What goes into an investigation like this, and what would amount to a war crime in regards to Russia's actions so far?
Aggression is a war crime, and this is clearly a war of aggression. Siege of civilian areas is a war crime, and the Russians are already laying siege to some cities inside Ukraine. We don't know much about other behavior by the Russian military, but those two items really stand out. There is prima facie evidence of war crimes by Russia. I'll be very surprised, though, if a case gets going in the International Criminal Court, because the great powers can really block anything that accuses them.
It seems that one of Putin's biggest powers is the ambiguity that he wields, and there's already concerns over whether or not Putin will press the nuclear button. It's increasing by the day, in fact, and many of those, of course, who say that he won't are the same people that said that he wouldn't even enter Ukraine. Do you think Putin has it in him to go nuclear?
Well, if he does, the consequences will be catastrophic for the whole world, and in particular for Russia, and he knows that. I believe that Putin is a rational actor still. He's made a giant miscalculation, thinking that the Ukrainians wouldn't fight. But he is a rational actor, and he's now doubling down on his efforts inside Ukraine. He's going to bombard the cities. He's going to encircle and try to take Kyiv and install a puppet government there. I think we know very well what the Russian war objectives are, and those war objectives will be their objectives in the negotiations as well.
Germany stepped up this weekend with the sudden decision to supply Ukraine with military aid, including helping the EU to finance fighter jets. Will this be echoed by the US? Should Biden inject some of Scholz's vision into Ukraine?
Well, the United States is already sending what are described as defensive weapons, but nevertheless lethal weapons, in particular the Javelin anti-tank weapons and the anti-aircraft Stingers. And those two weapons are playing a big role right now in Ukraine, and I expect more and more of them to be shipped. The Germans are also shipping Stingers, is my understanding.
How far can the UN go to help the situation on the ground? We know this emergency session has been in play today. What can a meeting of this kind actually do for this very quickly unfolding crisis?
What it can do is signal global opinion, and global opinion, I believe, is overwhelmingly against Russia. Russia will be shown as isolated. In addition, of course, the United Nations has a vital role to play in the handling of refugees and displaced people, and observing human rights violations.
All right, Daniel, we'll have to leave it there for the time being. Really appreciate your time. Daniel Servew there from International Studies at Johns Hopkins University. Still ahead on The World Today.